Hi, everybody. My name's Brennan,
My name's Gabe.
And I'm Parker.
and this is Shadow Valley. All right. Welcome back. Today, we have an interesting topic. We are going to be talking about the Chupacabra.
La Chupacabra.
So that's kind of what we're shooting for today.
El Chupa for short.
El Chupa.
El
They call me
Chupa.
Chupa because I can get the cabra.
What's a cabra? I'm just kidding.
I don't know, bro. What's a cabra?
It's like,
It's
what
like-
up, bruh?
I'm pretty sure it's a goat.
Cabra?
Yeah.
I guess you know better Spanish than I do because I did not know that was goat.
This
Well,
Cabra?
what do you think is goat?
I don't think it's anything. Well, no. Well, I guess it would. So I guess because the name is Chupa, which means suck. Cabra, which be like.
Sucking a goat.
I don't think it's goat. It's probably some sort of other name.
Yeah, cabra. That's
Is it
That's a
goat?
goat.
Wow.
I just Googled it.
What's the Spanish word for broom?
Broom?
Coba. No, what is it? It sounds like this. In my head, it's the same.
Dang, dude. See, that's the thing. When anybody asks me like, "Hey, what's this in Spanish?" I'm like, "I'm stupid. I don't actually know
Escoba.
Spanish." Escoba, yeah.
Well, we don't talk. We call it. It must be the slang word because we don't call it that at work.
You don't call it a broom? I mean, you don't call it an escoba?
No,
Oh.
I think they just call it a coba.
Puerto Rico.
Just like shorten it.
Yeah, I think it's just
Escoba,
like the
coba.
slang. Pass me coba.
fool, can you pass me the coba?
When I was in Puerto Rico,
No, I
like,
say pass it mi
instead
coba.
of using whatever the actual verb is
Yeah.
for mopping,
Uh-huh.
like the floor, we'd say mopiar.
Mopiar.
Yeah, that's what people would say. They'd be mopiar or
Some nice Spanglish.
yeah, or like diapers. I don't know what they're called. They're just called Pampers there because that was the brand that they saw for them. And so that's
really?
the word
Pampers.
for 'em. Yeah,
That's pretty funny, actually.
We
So-
like my guys never say. I don't know what the actual word for check is, but they say cheque, and then lunch is lunche, and I know that's not the word for lunch. I don't know. What, they're like, oh, lunche güeros, let's go.
Lunch.
nice. But no, it's funny. I love the accent down there too.
They're fast, dude, and they speak. It's like the Colombians, like Colombian people. Their Spanish is so fast. I have a hard time
Yeah.
understanding what they're saying. Same with like Puerto Rican Spanish. It's like fast.
Yeah,
It's way faster than my Spanish.
Is it the same like dialect and everything, or is it
No.
Is
No.
it somewhat different?
No, it's different. Like there's different words and stuff that they
Yeah.
use. They're different, like their own slang. Like for instance, I think it's Puerto Rico that they say papi a lot.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds
Dale papi.
Yeah, but it's papi is just like more of like a
bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how they use it. Or like if like a Mexican guy would say hey vato, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like hey papi, don't worry about it papi, stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like it's like hey don't worry about it vato, I got you or something.
Yeah.
I may be completely wrong, but that's just how I understand how they speak,
Well-
or I guess their slang.
They use right there, like they use to grab, and this is the only way I know it is coger. But you go
That's
to like
that's a bad
Mexico
word.
and you go anywhere else, that's to fuck.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not a
Ooh, I'm gonna use that.
yeah,
Go-
yeah.
Go
It's out
tell
to
your friends
coworkers.
that. Just be like, no. Just like tell them, coge eso, coge eso.
F that guy.
Yeah,
No, go grab that. That's what you
Oh.
really meant.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard it as because we don't use it. Or my friend, I had a friend from Mexico who told me that bizcocho, which is the word they use for like pastel, which is just like a cake. Because pasteles are something completely different in Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
I hate them. They're disgusting and they're like a Christmas thing, but some people absolutely love them. But bizcocho, my friend from Mexico told me that's like the lady's part, like that's vagina.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Huh.
like a dirty slang way to say that.
I always heard like pan or panocha.
There's
So-
my family really likes to like make up nicknames for each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's this nickname. Shout out to my sister. We used to call her Match Face
Oh my god.
because when she would get angry, she would like get really red in the face, and so that's why we called her Match Face, because she was as red as a match. Anyway, that was my brother that he called her that. But anyway, we came up with this other name, and we went to Mexico to visit family, and they're like, "What are you guys calling her?" And we told them, and they were like, "That's vagina." Like, yeah, we were just unknowingly calling her this very vulgar word for like, yeah,
That's awesome.
it was crazy. So we had to stop calling her
I
that.
feel like they have so many, like, you say almost anything and they're like, oh yeah, vagina. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you, I said like, pass me the water. And you're like, oh yeah, vagina.
Well, speaking of Puerto Rico, interestingly, that is actually the origin of our Chupacabra.
Yes.
I think a very common misconception between a lot of people is that Chupacabra actually originated in Mexico. That is not correct. And it is actually relatively new, if you will. It was in 1970 that it was first, or the Chupacabra was first like seen or heard of. There's a story that goes that there was this farmer. He had these, I think it was these goat or sheep or something like that, but it was just some livestock that would roam around, and every day he started noticing that one went missing. And it wasn't only him. There was other people that started like noticing the same thing, that they would let these livestock out. As you know, many like if you have a lot of land, most farmers will just let their livestock kind of roam,
Yeah.
you know, and then when they need to go corral them, they will corral them. But like most of the time they'll come back, blah, 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 whatever. But they noticed that these guys weren't coming back. And obviously that was a pretty big concern. And so eventually they all went out and started trying to find these like livestock, and they came across like a lot of his livestock, and they realized that their blood had been completely drained from their bodies, like a vampire almost.
So that's where you get the whole like chupa part.
Yeah, exactly.
Goat sucker means
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
So it's
penning.
sucking blood. Yeah. And so that's like the first, I think they named it like the first different creature, like blood sucking creature that wasn't a vampire technically.
Yeah.
But the most interesting part about this is that it is said, and this story kind of differs in where you read it, who tells it, blah, blah, blah. But the one that I'm talking about is the livestock didn't have any clear like showing or dictation that they were pierced in any way at all. And so they didn't have any puncture wounds, they didn't have any scratches on them, but their blood was just gone.
That's nuts, man. I just got a really bad nosebleed or something.
Can you imagine? They just have no idea what
Dude,
happened.
on that, I've never told anyone this before because I've always felt so ashamed. When I was little, there's this cat that attacked my dog Chomper,
Uh-huh.
and I was so mad I kicked it in the face,
Damn.
and it was bleeding. I think it died. I felt so bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember just feeling so bad. I'm like, I think I killed that cat. I
Oh my
kicked it in the face.
goodness.
What's the statute of limitations on animal murder?
I was like 2.
Oh my goodness.
No, I was really young, but like I was not even close to a teenager yet or anything like that. But I remember I was
Okay.
like, just get away from my dog, and that's why I kicked it. I wasn't like trying to like really trying to hurt it that bad.
You're
And
just
then I
trying to
was
get it away, like just
Yeah.
defending your dog.
yeah, because he was like that dog didn't even know how to like hit or bite
Yeah,
or anything. Like
I
she
remember
was-
Chomper.
yeah, and but yeah. Oh yeah, I still feel bad about that to this day. Stupid cat.
Fair
That's
enough.
sad. That sucks.
But anyways, back to what you're saying.
Yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, there's a lot of people that have claimed to see this so-called chupacabra. The depictions as they go is that it's like this. It's not necessarily like as small as a dog, but it's not like traditionally as big as your werewolf, right? Because a werewolf is almost, at least the way I view a werewolf, is it's like bipedal.
Like
is
bigger than a human.
right. It's some sort of like humanoid figure, but much bigger than a human. So
Yeah.
this creature is not as big as like a dog per se, but maybe a smaller human.
Mhm.
And it's usually hunched over. It's said to have really big spines on its back. Some people say it's like red. A
Is it
lot
like
of people,
furry or is it like
no,
skin?
no, it's just like skin.
Like
It's
leathery skin.
yeah.
kinda?
So and a lot of this information that I'm going to tell you guys. Another shout out to my family members, but my dad actually told me just kind of stories and stuff of when he was younger and of when he like they first started hearing about Chupacabra in Mexico. But the way that he heard it described to him when he was younger was he said the Chupacabra almost had like a bag leather. Have you seen like a leather bag that's just kind of tough leather? Obviously it's been treated, but
Yeah.
he said that people would say it looked like that, but it was almost like a greenish tone.
Oh,
And
really?
it was very like slick and very tight around the creature's muscles and stuff.
Like alligator-esque a little bit.
Yeah, almost.
But not
almost,
like bumpy.
yeah, the way when my dad was telling me, I envisioned it like speaking of cats again, but like those bald cats, you know?
Oh.
Just in like green, that kind of like that leathery like skin
Oh, I gotcha.
looking type of thing. But yeah, so the description is pretty foul. It's not really anything like a dog. It's not a human. It's just almost like something entirely different from the two, you know,
Yeah.
which it is obviously. But yeah, so common misconception was that it originated in Mexico. That's not true at all. Puerto Rico. So yeah, if I was Puerto Rican, I'd probably know a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I can kind of start to tell stories. Well, not stories, but the thought behind Chupacabra in Mexico and what other people thought it actually was. So the Nahual, if any of you guys have heard of the Nahual, that was a creature. Well, not a creature. It was said to be like an Aztec god of sorts that was in Mexico. So one thing that my dad did tell me was that the Nahual was something, it's probably still something that only the older people would remember. He, in his opinion, and take this with a grain of salt because, I mean, this is, like I said, it's just my dad. And so these are his thoughts that he was just kind of telling me about what his experience with this whole thing was like. But he says that the Nahual and Chupacabra are probably pretty similar, at least in the same family of sorts. And he thinks that a lot of the stories between those two got really convoluted or mixed together because people started to change, started to hear Chupacabra stories and then thinking it was Nahual and vice versa. And so eventually it just kind of turned into Chupacabra. And so he said that if you go down there now and you talk to people about it and say, hey, do you know about Chupacabra? Most people say, yeah, I know about Chupacabra. But if you say, hey, do you know about the Nahual? Some people would be like, what? But if you ask the older people, they'd be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, so it's like kind of gotten lost in translation.
Yeah.
Not literal translation, but
yeah, it's definitely like because a lot of these things are passed down orally, as many of the cryptids and like all these creatures go, most of it is all orally passed down from generation, right? And so it's kind of difficult to see where the lines got so faded between the two. But again, this is only my dad's like belief.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so back to the Nahual. So it was believed that it did originate from the Aztec Indians. But yeah, many people don't refer to it as Nahual anymore. And the people in the area, if they're older, they will know it as Nahual. This creature did differ, though, in the Chupacabra, or from the Chupacabra in a couple different ways. Because this one was considered to be more human-like, but the creature could turn into pretty much anything it wanted to, which I thought was really interesting. So
almost like Skinwalker. I feel
yes, yes, exactly. And this is where
like
that's
everything is like
I
Skinwalker.
know.
We say that
It's like
every episode.
some like distant
Well, it came
cousin.
from the Aztecs, right? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
So I don't know, the like I don't think there's any mingling done between the Aztecs and the Utes or Navajo, where the Aztecs were, I don't even, like, in South America somewhere, and then they were clear up in North America, all the Utes and Navajo and everything, and but I almost wonder if it has something to do with like their occult practices that are just like have just been passed down in general from like the beginning of time to I mean, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's definitely something that's like if you look in any culture, there's tons of like Christian beliefs and then there's tons of occult beliefs that like, will go clear back to the beginning of time pretty much, which is kind of crazy. So it could very well be like something to do like because they're getting the same things they're getting slightly different things maybe from the same place or something. Even though it's not the same geographical place. Then they have like similar monsters or anyways, tangent.
Nope. But no, I totally agree with that. I think we hit on that in our Bigfoot episode, but it's weird to see this same style of like creature and see it come up and be so prevalent in different cultures, societies, countries, blah, 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 whatever it is. Because you have Bigfoot, you have Sasquatch, you have the Yeti, you have the abominable snowman. Those are all considered to be of the same family, essentially. And it's weird. It's not weird, but it's difficult not to want to draw those parallels and say, well, there's so many different places that know of the same creature,
Yeah.
It's hard not to want to say, like, this has to be legit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of my favorite sayings, and I think I've said it on this podcast before, is where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's why I don't necessarily believe everything I hear to the full extent, but most things I hear, I do give a little bit of credibility to because I think, even if all they did was take a myth and twist it into a truth or something like that, like both those things were still around. I mean, there's some credibility to those things. And like people have been talking about all these things, but way before we got here. And you can argue, it's just, it's just an explanation for the unknown or for a hallucination or my uncle got too drunk one night or whatever, know? But at the same time, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a lot, I think that there's a lot of occult practice that has created those things somehow. Definitely. Like, I mean, even if you're not religious and don't believe in the devil, like you could just assume maybe there's negative energy or something like that, just like there's positive energy, you know?
Yeah.
And that might be something like, I don't know, might be something there, but I think it sounds nuts to draw parallels. I think it's more nuts to not draw parallels. Like everything's on the same planet. Why would it not all be connected a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. No, I 100% agree with you. But yeah, so let me hop back into this. So the Nawal said that this creature could turn into, again, whatever it wanted to. My dad said when they were younger, the tale would go that like the Nawal was like, it was almost just like a menace. Again, it's very Skinwalker-esque. Where it wanted just to mess people or do things to get like what it wanted. So he said that there was a story that there was a Nawal that broke into somebody's bar, and to get into the bar, it first turned into a cat to like leap over the fences, jump on the boxes, and then it turned into like a rabbit, something smaller that could get through like the grates in the windows. And then it turned into like a wolf to pick up the or to pick up the weight of like the food and the drink it wanted to carry out. And so that was like a very common thing where the Nahual was considered to be like, again, just like a menace to society. It wasn't there to scare. It wasn't there to hurt or to like murder or do anything like that. But it was more just to scare, to annoy, to frustrate, to just bother
Just
people.
a pest, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The other interesting thing about the Nahual was that many people said that everybody was born with the ability to do it, but there was only a handful of people that could actually harness the ability and do it, like whenever they wanted to on command.
I mean, on that, I just have to say that's true. I can do it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, turn into a freaking eagle right now.
Use your spiritual eyes.
Do it and you're cool. Do it and you're cool.
Can you see me as an eagle?
Holy smokes, it's for real.
Those eagle eggs are a bunch of crap, man.
Watashikara. Ooh woo.
Oh man, dude. Eagle powers. Oh, that is such
Dude,
a money
it
movie.
just hit me the other day that Nacho Libre just means free nachos.
Yeah.
I did not realize
Nacho
that.
Libre. Yeah, like directly translated. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nachos, like
Ignacio.
Yeah.
It's like the nickname for
Yeah,
Ignacio.
yeah, free. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was like, that's free nachos. Oh my God. Like I just was thinking about it on the way to work or something because we've got a guy who's named Nacho, and I was like, yeah, and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it before.
So, yeah, back to Nahual and the origins, I guess. Not origins, but we've already kind of gone over that. So yeah, it was said that everybody could harness this, or not everybody could harness this ability, and the people that did usually were very selfish people that wanted just to use it for their own gain.
Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me a selfish person was able to harness this power and use it for themselves?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yo, that's insane, bro. That's insane. I can't believe somebody could do that. It's almost like it's a Dick Cheney.
Oh my gosh.
I knew that's where it was going.
I really didn't know where you were going. I was sitting here like, what is going on?
I could see that look in his eye.
Yeah, that twinkle in his eye, the twitch. He's like, oh yeah, here it comes.
Dick.
That's what happened. I mean, allegedly, looking at Dick Cheney's role, allegedly in 9/11,
Which role?
the one where he was a part of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Allegedly,
Thought you
I
meant
don't know
fat
how many
roll.
times I have to say this word, but allegedly, he gained a lot of money with a lot of different contracts because we went back to war. War is really good with money.
Yeah,
Get
it's
rich.
really good for the freaking economy. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I won't bring it up because I think we'll do an episode on it.
Yeah.
But I want to do an episode on the Rothschilds and Illuminati and stuff. So
That'd be way
freaking
cool.
bad.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Not for today. Just
No.
dropping little seeds.
I mean, also looking at it, so the Nawal, I'm assuming you got to do some magic to do this, right?
So, and that's where kind of the line differs. So there are a few different ideas, and my dad said it really depends on who you speak to.
Okay.
There are some people that believe that witches or some sort of witchcraft was involved in making somebody or giving them this power of
Yeah.
the Nawal. Other people think that some people, again, are just everyone's born with it, but there's only a handful of people as like a child that you can harness this ability. Because again, it stems from like the Aztec Indians and their gods and stuff. And
Right.
so it was considered to be like almost like I don't want to say blessing because it wasn't, because they were kind of like bad things or like a malevolent.
It was like the werewolves in Twilight, where they're like,
no,
it's
no,
a blessing and a
no,
curse.
I get exactly
Or
what
no?
you're
The
saying.
only
though.
reason,
like, yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
The only reason I ask is because we already know, going back to Dick, we already know my guy allegedly used dark magic to bring about the new world order in the big ritual that is 9/11.
Right.
And so if he's not past using that type of magic, who's to say allegedly he doesn't use magic to do Nawal stuff? You know, he's probably mad at me already, and he's probably doing some shit to me.
That's the funny thing. We can
He's probably beating his meat listening to your voice. This will get him.
The cool thing about the things that we have set up for our podcast is that we can see all the analytics and stuff. And we recently saw a large spike in Washington, D.C.
And Wyoming, too.
Yeah, Wyoming. Yeah, in Wyoming for whatever reason.
That's Dick's backyard.
Well, that's where his daughter Liz Cheney's from, is Wyoming.
Oh, really?
Dude, I've been to her house. It's crazy.
Really?
No, not at all.
Oh my god, you had me there. You got me.
You're such a mook, dude.
Well, it was with with my line of work and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I was like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Dang, I thought you were serious.
Sorry.
I thought you were serious too. That would have been sick. But yeah, that's pretty. That's a fun thing to see. And so we all were texting back and forth, and we're like, dude, I wonder if like somebody like Dick Cheney's listening to us now. Like, dude, they're like, FBI is like, this podcast has mentioned your name about 100 times each episode. Like, we need to see what's up.
Let him do it.
Yeah, I'll just shoot him anyway.
He's like, this is how
That
I
was the
unwind every
best
night.
Dick Cheney penguin noise I've heard.
Oh,
That's
man.
what he is. He is the penguin.
Z Penguin.
He looks just like him.
Yeah,
He really
he
does.
really
Get a
does. He's kind of
monocle.
freaky. He's very freaky looking, dude. Very freaky.
Don't go hunting with him, please.
But yeah, to Brandon's.
Just get shot in the face.
I brought my hunting dogs to go hunting with Dick. They came out with no hunting dog.
Oh man, so.
Oh gosh, this guy and his puppies.
So yeah, to Brandon's point, it was believed that a lot of these creatures were or could have been witches. Although not very popular for the Nahual, it is something that people have said that could be a cause of why it came to fruition.
Yeah.
The other thing too, like we had stated prior to with La Llorona, it was often used to be like listen to your parents' tale almost. Like the boogeyman or stuff like I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but there's always like a tale as your little kid.
Mr.
Like,
Gunny Sack.
The Midnight Bee Man.
The Midnight Bee Man.
Everyone's heard of the Midnight Bee Man.
Oh yeah,
You're
he's
gonna
so
get
popular.
stung in your sleep.
Was that the
Oh,
story that I was like cracked out on, where I just was so tired and couldn't tell the story?
Yeah, that
I don't
was
know.
It.
There's been a
Yeah,
couple. Just kidding.
that I was cracked out on. But
Yeah, I remember being like, I can't believe when you said Midnight Bee Man, I was like, did not think it had anything to do with bees. Then it was all about bees.
Yeah. Basically, that's all it was a bee man. A man with bees. Like, he was a regular guy, just surrounded by bees. And he used the bees to try and, like, coax people to him. Like, that was the whole point of the story, is he was just like, okay, gonna use my bees, gonna try and get these teens over here so I can do whatever the fuck a Midnight Bee Man does.
Stung you, bitch.
he just runs away naked.
Oh my gosh.
Got him.
Gotcha.
And yeah, but no.
You just hear
They
butt
just ran
cheeks
away.
slapping as he's running.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was basically the Midnight Bee Man. The only story I ever found about the Midnight Bee Man.
And then your one TikTok video.
Kids go out to the forest. Not even the forest, just like somewhere in Spanish Fort Canyon.
Yeah.
They see like bees that, first of all, in the story, they don't even call them bees. They start off by calling them fireflies.
Oh yeah.
And
There's a lot of those in Utah.
oh yeah, there's just a ton of fireflies in Utah. I've seen so many.
Yeah,
But
fireflies are sick too.
yeah, no, I've never seen one here. But
There's actually there's this place in Utah County that will you have to reserve like like years in advance, but
Yeah.
there's like a week or so that they do after sun goes down. They do a couple tours and they let you go and see if you can catch like fireflies and stuff. It's
Do
like
we
apparently
really?
the
They
only
like
place
grow
in
them
Utah.
themselves, kind of. Or
Wow.
Well, they have this big marsh in their
Mm.
property, and they've been preserving it. Like they made deals with the city not to have like any lights or like light posts or anything like that
Oh,
within
really?
like 500 yards of their property,
Dang.
because it's like protected land now, because I think it's like the
wetland
wetlands preserves. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, tangent.
Interesting. So they say there's these fireflies, blah blah blah. These teens, and I just imagine them all coming from BYU too, wearing their G's, and you can see like the G collar,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just like, and they're all wearing like the same blue like plain shirt. You know
and
what I'm
basketball
talking?
shorts,
Like in all the church like videos.
white basketball shorts.
Freaking Zubers.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they're there with the gals who are in their nice, modest, like flower shirts.
I knew we should have hiked the Y.
Oh my gosh! But you have these group of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints who see this bee man, then run away from him, catch a freaking trucker, who then goes back to check out the bee man. Nothing's there, and that's the end of that bee man story.
Yeah, it's so weird.
That was the story I couldn't tell when I was freaking like dead ass tired.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That was the whole story.
But yeah, so again, like was stated in the La Llorona episode, because La Llorona was used more to be like a tale to spook children into listening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Nahual was more as a tale as people grew up. Obviously, like I've stated several times now, it's almost been forgotten. You have to talk to like the older people to actually have them remember Nahual.
Yeah.
But my mom told me a story of when she lived back in when she was younger, they had a house, and then her dad had like a mechanic shop probably like 200 yards away from their house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they would always have to go out there and grab stuff because my grandpa would forget things, and so they'd have to run over there, grab it, and come back. And my mom told me that her mom, my grandma, would always be like, "Hey, make sure you don't go anywhere else, or they're Nahual's gonna come get you." And so it was funny
They're
because
probably like sprinting
yeah,
there
dude.
and back because they're. I mean, as
As
a
a
grown
kid-
man, I still would probably sprint in the dark, like
Oh,
pitch
yeah.
black dark, 200 yards.
Dude, and just kind of give you a layout of like what my grandma's property's like is, so there's her house, and then her backyard is, mind you, this is in Mexico, so it's all kind of like dirt, but she has planted like probably 100 trees or so of just like random like she's got a banana tree in her backyard, she's got grapefruit trees, she has like these like really, I don't remember what they're called, but they're very thorny trees, but it's like an actual tree, but they have thorns coming out of them.
Yeah.
And then just a
Mhm.
bunch of other random trees. And the distance to get from there, I want to say it's like 200 yards. Maybe it's a little less. But it can be spooky, dude, at night because you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the downside is like the infrastructure for light posts and stuff is not really set up, especially in an old town like where they live.
Yeah.
And so everything's dark and you can't see shiz.
Which
and
is
so-
like something we're not used to in the
Right.
US. I feel like
Yeah.
even a small town
We'll
there's
have lights.
a lot of lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was kind of, I would be spooked if I had to run 200 yards and then come back,
Yeah.
especially when there's this tale of this freaky thing out there that's going to like, I don't know, scare you, do whatever,
Just pop out. Booga booga booga.
Unga boonga, unga boonga.
Booga booga booga.
What's oh man, Crash Bandicoot. Do you guys remember what that face
Oh
says?
yeah, the like mask.
Yeah, what does that face say?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Something
crap.
like that. Booga booga.
Yeah.
It's something like almost just like that.
Buddha bakara, something like that. Anyway,
That was nuts, man. What a poll.
yeah, dude, just from
real.
the deepest
That was a-
depths of your brain.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I love that game. I love that game so much.
Oh, you
Um,
said game. I thought you said that was a good game. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I just jizzed in my
I
pants.
just shipped my drawers.
Yeah.
I remember
Um,
playing Crash on the original PlayStation.
Yeah, dude, me too.
That was
I love
great.
that.
Great.
This is a great game.
Sorry.
So yeah, now to move on to Chupacabra. So again, like my dad's belief and his understanding of it was that the Nahual and the Chupacabra are about the same thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some different changes in the way the Chupacabra comes to fruition versus the Nahual.
Yeah.
So there's a few different things with the Chupacabra that are very different from what I guess the common conception of it is. Some people say that it's like a demon. Some people say it's a vampire. Some people say that it's actually an alien. Which that one's interesting. There's not many people that say that, so that one's not like super popular idea. But I thought it would be cool if it was
No.
like a
No. There's a ton of people. Like when I lived in Puerto
Really?
Rico,
dude. I
talk
tried to find more
anybody.
like information on it, and it's like a very like taboo idea.
you talk to anybody. I have a list of people you could go talk to, and if you like dead ass seriously be like, hey, have you seen aliens? They'll be like, yes, I saw the alien over La Paguera. And
Really?
yeah, in La Paguera, it's a bioluminescence bay.
Mhm.
And so there's already like these natural lights in there because of
That's
like
super
the
cool.
algae.
That's so cool.
Super, super cool looking.
That
super
reminds
pretty.
me of Surf's Up.
But they'll tell you straight up, everybody has an alien story where they've seen ovnis. That's the word, ovnis.
Ovnis?
It smells like
Object
Updog in
volador vihalado. Volador whatever flying is. Object
Volando?
volador volando. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
And so UFO.
yeah.
Yeah. Ovnis. That's what I remember them as.
Ovnis.
And so they'll have different ones. And, there's this one guy, going back to the Chupacabra, because we were talking about this too, because you mentioned vampires.
Mhm.
He told me this story about how he saw the vampire of Mocas, where it's this real vampire, this actual guy. And he was driving in his car, and this guy dressed just like Dracula. No joke. He said the guy was dressed like Dracula, which made me kind of like laugh. Was like,
Got a cape in front of his mouth.
no, like no joke. This guy literally said he was dressed like Dracula, and I was like, bro, you got to be messing with me here, because like that's just a stereotypical vampire. But he said he was dressed like Dracula, running next to his car, and he was Puerto Rican speed, and he was going like crazy
30
fast,
and
and
a
this guy
25.
was just like keeping next to him, and then he just turns over and he hisses and then disappears into the dark.
This guy dressed as Dracula.
Yeah,
That guy's
literally.
trying. If he's a real vampire, he's trying way too hard.
Yeah,
It's
for
real.
it's not enough that he's just running next to the car hissing. He
Dude.
also is dressed like
Can you
Dracula.
imagine?
real.
We're just shitting on actual Dracula. Like that guy actually saw Dracula, and we're all gonna die tonight.
For real.
Screw you, Transylvania for you.
Screw you!
I'm
You're
being-
going to get your blood sucked.
I'm being dead ass
And you
serious
die.
about this. But like, yeah, if you guys ever want to go to Puerto Rico and we go there, like I'll introduce you to these people and be like, hey, tell them about the ovnis.
Dude, I would actually love that. That'd be so cool, actually.
Like
be a
everybody has
baller.
a story. And in some people it's very taboo. Like to even bring it up, they're like, don't talk about it.
Really?
Don't talk about the ovnis because they'll come and get you. Like
Huh.
I know so and so
like
was
the
abducted,
government.
and that's all I'm gonna say.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Like, no joke.
I want to talk to the guy that was abducted.
He's gone.
Oh, like he never came back.
Yeah.
Ooh, touchy subject. Then.
Yeah.
Probably
but no
don't talk
joke.
about that with his family.
Well, yeah. God damn. But no, there's some other crazy stuff that happened in like Puerto Rico. There's a lot of shootings that happened around like where we lived and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I will always remember the ovnis, and I will 100% to this day like bet you if I were to take you guys down there and go to the specific people that I've talked to about this, you guys would have the best stories of your life.
Hmm.
They are freaking amazing. I loved it. I completely enjoyed it. It was an amazing time. Just, you know, I'm a level with you. Like, I love Puerto Rico, and I definitely want to go back as like a regular human being.
Mhm.
But I would never, ever in my life go back as a missionary.
Well, I don't think they'd let you.
No,
Don't worry about it.
they wouldn't. But like my time there as like a missionary was terrible.
Awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just like being there as like a normal human being was fine.
Mhm.
Being there as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was kind of like hell.
Yeah. Well, that's probably most places.
Fair enough. But
All I got on my mission was really good burritos, so that's pretty cool. You got some
That's what's
alien
up.
stories. They were
Nice.
good
For real.
burritos, so I mean that's no joke.
I wish I remembered like the exact stories.
Yeah.
But I would totally use their name like right now on who told me these stories.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna dox anybody. That's just not my place. So no, like they're big there. Aliens are huge in Puerto Rico, and like in relation to the Chupacabra, like if you go into the area,
Is there a lot of lights in Puerto Rico, or is it kind of like Gabe was saying where there's not a lot of city lights?
not a lot of city lights.
It's probably a big reason why there's not that, because you can see the sky so much better.
Oh, yeah.
we could have UFOs all the time where we're
We
at,
just
and
wouldn't see
we'd
'em.
never see them anyways.
The area where this happened, they refer to it as El Campo, and it's because this
really?
is kind of like way out there in the middle of
Yeah.
like nowhere, very rural area.
Yeah.
And so very little lights, but in the area you got like, oh my God, just the entire left side of the island. If you're looking at the map, left side of the island, that's where a whole bunch of them happen. Maybe if you do an L2, because there's just not like a ton of lights. It's not so polluted. But if you go to San Juan, I'm going to bet like it's a lot harder to find those type of stories because it's so crowded, and it's
Yeah.
basically like a city of concrete.
Mm.
Like no joke, it's basically all concrete because the houses in there are all made from cement.
Right.
That's why when the earthquake happened when I was there, or the earthquake storm is what they called it, everybody was so freaked out because the houses are cement. Like you feel the earthquake in those houses, and when it breaks, like you're dead.
Yeah.
And so, I guess like that whole area, I was in the area of San Germán, and that's where I spoke with all these people and got
Yeah.
all these stories, and it all happens also in like the city of Lajas. And so between those two places and one more I can't remember the name of, that's where like I heard the most stories.
Yeah.
And so
That's so cool. Yeah, I wish I could have gotten more. Like there's like again, it's not super popular that it is like an alien, but the reason I would choose to believe it's an alien is because there's not like a place really where it came from or
Yeah.
how it came to be. Again, like originally the Chupacabra started in Puerto Rico with all those livestock missing, and then a lot of people started saying like they claimed that they saw it, like a bunch of eyewitnesses claim they saw it, and because this was done in like a small town, the initial like livestock gone missing, it spread to a lot of the smaller cities, and then a lot of, again, like the rural areas of Puerto Rico, and it almost just spread like a mass panic.
Yeah.
And so it just seems weird because all of this information of like how it terrorized these animals and stuff, but there's no like solid place like, oh, this came from a werewolf or something stupid like a werewolf, freaking coyote mix turning chupacabra, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would make more sense if it was an alien, like came down, maybe it crashed, and that's just the type of alien we got, and it's just been here ever since, whatever.
That makes sense.
It is kind of wild that they would not, that it's such a new, like, it seems like everything has an old origin. I guess if you take the Nawal, is that what it was called?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing is that the Nawal is that's a very old idea because it came from Aztec Indians. Like that is from generation to generation.
So why did it? I mean, I guess because you said that's more of your dad's opinion, right?
And
And it
it's-
changed
and
from the one to the other, or is that
he
somewhat
said that-
accepted?
He said that it is somewhat accepted, but not everybody will think that. And the downside is many people have like not forgotten about the Nawal because it's not very talked about anymore. And you look at the Nawal on like the internet, and
There's
not
a
very
lot there.
much comes up.
Well, it
Right.
hasn't been around since internet's been a thing.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe if you had a encyclopedia or
Yeah.
something.
Or
real.
something, because it was definitely more prevalent back in the day. My dad was saying, but he thinks that the Nawal is it's not so similar, but it's pretty similar to the Chupacabra, that a lot of people just kind of started accepting it as the Chupacabra
Yeah.
instead. But yeah, so the last thing I kind of want to talk about is a story that my dad told me.
Before you tell the story,
yeah.
talking about Puerto Rico, I'm very salty about something actually that I just remembered, and it brought up a lot of strong feelings. Did you know McDonald's, like all over like the world, have different foods where you
Yeah.
go?
Mm-hmm.
They have this thing in Puerto Rico called the Dippers snack box.
Yeah.
So it's like you got chicken nuggets, you got like fries, and then you got mozzarella sticks.
Were they good mozzarella sticks?
They were fucking amazing. I'm so pissed because I even wrote to McDonald's. I was like, you guys need to bring the Dippers
awesome.
snack box to Utah. And they're like, glad you liked our product.
No
yeah,
thanks.
but we're not doing that. And I was like, you guys are the worst. Bring me the Dipper snack box and like
Boycott.
I will fucking
Boycott.
love you. But no. So I'm salty about that. I'm salty. They get the Dipper snack box, which is a totally American sounding thing.
Yeah.
Like you think that would be everywhere.
mozzarella sticks, of course.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
It's
Dipper
not-
snack box.
Mozzarella sticks don't pop in my mind as like a traditional Puerto Rican food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why they're down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Puerto Rican.
Dude, that's totally Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
just
and
doesn't make
They
sense.
probably have sushi at their McDonald's too.
For real.
Dude, this is stupid, but every time I think Puerto Rico is like bench warmers, when that guy comes up,
That's what I thought
he's
too.
like drunk. And he's like, "I'm 12,"
Yeah.
with his $20 bill,
In
my
his birth
gosh.
certificate that just says
Yeah.
I am 12
I
with
am
green
12.
crayon.
and it's just
Nice.
a picture of him.
Yeah.
So money.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's good,
Well,
dude.
Puerto
that seems
Ricans
really
are
funny.
good baseball players, aren't they?
That's racist.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not freaking. It just means they have a bit. Their country likes the baseball.
They
Yeah.
do like
I mean, it's
baseball a lot.
it's obviously like the common stereotype with like
And
Mexicans
basketball.
liking soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah.
I thought they liked
know.
track and field.
Why would they like track and
So
field?
they can run over the border. That's what Brennan
Bro.
was gonna say.
I was just saying because they like cross country.
Like,
Anyway,
It's okay. Donald Trump said it.
have you ever heard that? I'm just gonna say it because I don't really care. Okay,
Okay.
it's not that big of a deal. No, have you ever heard that joke that was? It's like, and I work with all these guys, so I can say this. It gives me the license.
we're gonna get canceled after
No,
this. We're
no,
done
have
for.
you ever heard that joke that's like, why does Mexico not do very good in the Olympics?
Mhm.
It's because anyone who can run, jump, or swim is already in the U.S.
Oh my gosh. 10 out of 10. I
Oh my
endorse.
goodness. That's never mind. Yeah. Anyway,
Wait,
what was I
yeah.
saying? Oh yes. Okay. So story time with Gabe. So it was there's a story that kind of blew up in my dad's town.
Okay.
There was this like hike that people would like to go on that would overlook the whole city. And a lot of the time on the weekends, what would happen is that big groups of people would go up there, get super drunk, start doing drugs, and just like party it up.
Oh, so West Valley. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
pretty much. So, yeah, one night it was said that these three guys, they all bought, it was like, again, the weekend. He said one of them was a cop. And because of the way things were ran back then,
Love me
this-
some bacon from a pig, bro.
but so these cops would confiscate all these drugs and stuff. And it was apparently the idea was that they had this big like evidence locker room
Yeah.
where if you wanted to, you could just go get drugs and take them.
As
Right.
you do.
Right, as you do, and you know, use them whatever you want to do with them. So, said that this cop had gotten a bunch of these confiscated drugs, and they went out and got a bunch of alcohol.
Yeah.
So they walk up, and as they're walking, they start to kind of like all really get messed up, like bad, because of the drugs they picked up.
What the heck was in that essay?
Yeah, no, for
Oh
real
my
though.
gosh.
They said so none of these guys died, by the way, and this is like how they got the story was
Yeah.
these like three mooks were just like pretty much they got shit faced super quick, like a lot faster than normal, and so they get over to this lookout and they start a fire and they're kind of just chilling, and all of them are kind of like feeling like, holy crap, like this is
Too much.
we're messed up right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Probably something laced in it is what they're thinking.
And that's what they thought, right? But another thing again with this Nahual or the Chupacabra is like it doesn't want to mess with humans. It's almost just to be there to be a menace, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so the thought behind them getting so messed up was that this. So sorry, let me finish telling the story. So eventually these guys are just kind of messed up, all just sitting there, and they have all their drugs, their alcohol. Like they've only taken a little bit of these drugs because they got messed up quick. So everything's just sitting there. And then it said that there was this wolf that just came up and sat there and stared at them, and that they just started like envisioning something horrible, right? Like this
Dang.
wolf was a lot worse than it actually was. And so they all got up, left their shiz, and ran away. They all went home.
It sounds like peyote or like ayahuasca
Yeah,
or
they just got
something like
shit faced
That's
hard,
what
dude.
it was, bro. That's what I fucking did with Callan.
Oh, nice.
ayahuasca
Yeah.
Peyote?
or
One of
peyote?
those two.
Which one?
I don't
Peyote is
remember.
more of a grass. I think. I don't know. I've
It
never
was
done
very like powdery, but it was almost like it was.
I'm
a
pretty
fine,
sure
grassy
ayahuasca is.
powder.
I think it's a fungi.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
could be
it's
wrong. I could be.
interesting.
I have no idea. Someone's like beating their head against the steering wheel right now because they're like, this idiot doesn't know anything about
Dumbass.
drugs
That's what he did. He blew that shit like up my nose.
Nice.
with his butthole.
What
No.
Hey, yo.
He just farted in your nose,
Ooh.
and then you got high.
All right.
Bro. I got
That's so
freaking.
gross.
I got freaking Rocky Mountain spotted fever, bro. Not pink eye.
Ticks or farts? Pick one.
Pick one.
I'd pick ticks.
Red pill or the blue pill. So yeah, all these guys, they ran away, they run down the mountain, they go back, and they start spreading this story about it, this crazy stuff that happened. And so a big group of them come back up the next day to see like what had happened, what went on. And all the crap was gone. All the
Yeah.
drugs, the alcohol, their food, blah, 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 all of it gone. And everybody started saying, well, that was the Nahual, that was the Chupacabra, whatever you want to say, that it just wanted your shiz. And so it gave you like this hallucination of you were a lot more messed up than you actually were, just so it could take your shiz.
Really?
Yeah. And that was a very popular story. He said that was like one of the biggest stories that they heard, and like one that everybody would tell their kids and stuff, is like this creature that just kind of wanted to mess with these dudes for their own selfish gain, you know?
To me,
Yeah.
it sounds like, because you know how we're saying it's kind of like a boogeyman type thing.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's basically like telling your kids, don't do drugs because the Nawal's gonna come mess with you and take your drugs. Like
Then you'll have to get more.
Yeah, it seems like there's an ulterior motive. The lesson you need to learn is give your drugs to your parents so the Nawal doesn't mess with you.
Yeah, they can't take it from your parents.
Yeah.
Give them to me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
that's
crazy
kind of
though.
the gist of, well, not the gist. There's plenty of other things that you can do research on, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to share what, I guess, an experience from somebody that's actually been in that area, you know, grew up in it. And yeah, it was pretty fun to talk to my dad about it and see kind of more information, because prior to this, I actually had no idea what the Nahual was. But for my dad, when he was growing up, he said it was actually very popular. And and it's just been over time that people have stopped talking about it. So
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Who
but-
can we not offend today?
Nobody. Everyone's offended. Yeah. So hopefully that was enough to get some of that sweet, sweet crypto juice flowing for you guys and the listeners.
Oh yeah. I can feel it. I can feel the juices flowing.
Ooh, I don't like that.
The juices have been flowing, man.
They've
The juices
been flowing, yeah.
The juices are juicing today.
It's like a fucking cow, bro.
Dude,
Very nice.
Tatum,
Uh-huh.
this is my son for listeners. He'll go to my wife and he'll be like, he'll look at her, and she's pregnant right now, so her breasts are slightly bigger than they were before. And he's like, Mom, your boobs are working.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
what the freak, dude?
He says that?
Yeah.
Dude, what a menace.
I know. Well, he's just he's had this thing ever since he's little where he's like puts his hand down her shirt for like comfort.
Uh-huh.
And so he's noticed that they've gotten bigger.
Oh my god.
I'm
What?
like, dude, you need to get off your mom's tits, like literally.
my
like,
goodness.
Oh my
if you're
gosh.
like noticing, I'm like, if you're noticing they're getting bigger by grabbing them,
Yeah.
like you need to freaking go sleep in your own bed for one thing. Like,
Oh man, what a menace, dude.
I mean, he's not like it's not like he's like 7 years old. So
Yeah.
for those,
yeah, he's
he
3 or
just
2, right?
barely turned 3.
3, okay.
And he's just he's just saying ridiculous things
Yeah.
right now, and that's just one of those things.
yeah.
So I was like, your boobs are boobing, because he's like,
Boobs are
Mom,
boobing.
well, and so first he told his grandma, he calls her Mimi.
Mhm.
He's like, your boobs are broken.
Oh my god.
No way. Your mom?
Oh,
No,
Or-
Dorothy's
Oh
mom.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
he's like-
wild.
he's
that's
like,
amazing.
Mimi, your boob's broken.
Dude, he probably said my boobs are working, bro.
Probably.
That's what's up. You already heard.
Yeah.
Mine just don't exist.
Mine are there, dude. You can take some of mine.
Nanan, where are your boobs? Where are your nipples? That's what he'd say.
Titties.
But
Well, yeah, I think that about does it for me, boys. I don't really have too much, or I don't really have anything else in terms of Chupacabra or Nahual.
Simone.
I did want to do a little shout out. We didn't notice, but Brennan let us know that we did have two people email us actually, which is pretty exciting. Heather, we'd like to say thanks for contacting us.
Word up, Heather.
It was very cool to hear from a fan, and then we actually heard from from a listener out in Belgium, Roman.
We've mentioned him before, right?
No.
No, I think
not,
this is the first
not
time.
by name, but we've said.
Oh, yeah,
there's a
both.
listener in Belgium because we
Yeah.
talked about Belgian
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah, we have a listener in Belgium. I think it's Roman.
Yeah.
But then there's a very avid listener in Kansas, and I believe that was also Heather. So shout out to you two for sending us messages. We really appreciate it, and it was super cool to hear from the fans and see that you guys are actually enjoying what we're saying.
For sure.
But yeah, I implore everybody and encourage you to message us as well and see, or so we can see and get to know you guys as well, because we do appreciate it. We'll not go unnoticed.
For sure.
Yeah, give us a follow on Instagram. Brennan, you want to plug the email?
Yes, sir. As always, please send us an email. Follow the example of Heather and Roman. Send us an email at shadow.valleypod@thedogenetwork.com. Again, shadow.valleypod@thedogenetwork.com.
Yep.
Alrighty, my lovelies.
See you next time.
See ya.
My lovelies.
All right, bye.